Hello and welcome to another episode of Toya Talks Wrestling. In today's episode, going to be talking about the WWE documentary series WWE Unreal on Netflix that premiered on Tuesday, July 29th of 2025. It has 5 episodes. So basically, it's behind the stage, right? It's behind the scenes is with how they come up with who's going to be picked for like the Rumble, who's going to be picked to be the winner of this and that, and everything else. So it starts off from like January 6th of when Raw debuted on Netflix for the first time. They talked about that. They do a couple introductions and everything else, like about usually the fans don't get to see this part of the work, but seeing as we're in 2025 now, everything is different. People got cameras on their phones. You can't, it's very hard to keep kayfabe, right? It's very hard to keep, especially nowadays. People they're going to find out, right? Backstage, people are going to say something, whatever. So they talk about that, and they talk about how basically how things are going to be run, like who's going to be on this show, who's going to open the show, who's going to do what, who's going to be the main event, who's going to be this. That's what they talked about. They have like this board, and they show you the board and everything else like that. And some things are left on the board still, some things be taken off, who knows, right? And I think in this episode you have Cody Rhodes, he's talking, Rhea Ripley, CM Punk, Triple H is in basically all 5 episodes. So is Michael Hayes, and and John Cena, right? They tell you, like, they give you the information and everything else. They give you like their real names, and they're like, yeah, my name is blah 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 blah, and I play the character of Rhea Ripley on WWE, on Raw, whatever. So it's kind of like you see the actual person who plays the character, which I think is pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? You get to see that side and everything else like that. Rhea Ripley talked about how she was nervous because I think at that time she just got back from the shoulder injury that Liv inflicted on her when she threw the chair. I don't know whose fucking idea who that was, but why didn't I put that on the damn thing? But yeah, they have that. They talked about CM Punk missing WrestleMania last year because he got injured, blah blah blah. Basically it was just about that Raw and everything else, and how it was run and all that other stuff like that. So episode 2, they basically talked about the end of that Raw and moving on to like Saturday night's main event. So you have Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens and that feud going on and everything else, and Royal Rumble. And they were talking about, well, who's going to win the Rumble. They threw in CM Punk's name, they threw in some other names and like that, and someone suggested Jey Uso, because Jey Uso was hot. Jey Uso was on fire at that time, and what I'm saying, everybody's like the Yeetmeister, So they do it, then they go over there, and they basically, Triple H goes in there and talks to Jey and say, hey, you're gonna be winning the Rumble, blah 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 blah, and everything else. So they have that. So Jey Uso's in the second episode, he's talking about all this other stuff, and he had his brother Jimmy there. They're talking, and then there is also like I said, Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens thing and everything else, and that whole situation with them as well. So basically the story about them, it was those two. I think basically the main story was about those two. I mean, there were some other things here and there, but basically it was about those two. Episode 3 was basically mostly for the ladies. So you had Chelsea Green. She was talking about winning the being the first woman United States champion and everything else, and how like at the time they wanted her to do some kind of a leg drop off the top rope for like the finish when she wins, and she's like, no, I want to do the unprettier, like that's my move, right? And she's like, no, like you can't do it. She ends up doing the unprettier anyway. So I was just like, the leg drop. I was like, why would she do the leg drop? I'm like, maybe she could do it as like just a move, but as her finisher? Come on now, no, wait, whatever. But she talked about that. She talked about how she wanted to be in Survivor Series. Like she had already invited all her family and friends, because Survivor Series at the time was in Canada, and that's where she's from. Like Victoria, Canada. She's from there, but she was on the card though. She was like, oh, she invited all her fans and friends for nothing. But I mean, she got to see her family and friends, so it really wasn't for nothing. But yeah, they talked about her. Bianca Belair was involved. They talked about Bianca Belair, how she made her own costumes and stuff like that, and basically also how like Jade, I guess Jade legitimately got injured, and how they just used that injuries for a storyline and everything else for like a whodunit and stuff like that. So things will be pointing at Liv and Raquel, but in reality, and we all know it was Naomi. So they used that, and they talked about basically Bianca and the Elimination Chamber. That was pretty much the story there for Bianca. And then they have Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair was they talked about Charlotte Flair, about her knee injury, how about she's coming back from like being gone from like a year and a month and 2 days or whatever the fuck she fucking said. She like said it to the damn T. And how she was gonna be picked to be the winner of the Rumble as well, and how she was like nervous and scared and all this other stuff. So that was basically that. That's Stephanie McMahon on it as well. So it was basically mostly the ladies on that show, which was cool. Episode 4, they talked about more elimination, but for the men, and they talked about how they're going to make John Cena heel. Nobody knew John Cena was heel, right? Nobody knew that John Cena was going to be heel. The only people that had a phone call was Cody, Rock, Triple H, John Cena, Michael Hayes, and I think somebody else. Only these 6 people knew. So like when John Cena turned heel, nobody knew. Not even like the camera, the production, not even the cameraman knew. It's like Triple H was like basically dictating everything that happened down that night. It's like, okay, go to camera 3, go to camera 4, go to camera 6, go to this camera, follow John Cena wherever John Cena is gonna beat the crap out of, right? They even talked about how Cody Rhodes was going to say, right, Rock, go fuck yourself. Like Triple H actually, don't bleep it out. Let it go. Like, just let that go. We're gonna let that slide and everything else. And you know, it's like, go to the angle shot, go to the wide shot, put a look on put the camera on John Cena's face. And they also fucking even before the match, even before that, they had talked about the match with basically had like CM Punk, John Cena, and Seth Rollins. They're all talking about how like they're going to how they're gonna finish that match at the Elimination Chamber and stuff like that. Because I can do this to you, blah 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 blah. I mean, to me, that kind of threw me off a little bit, right? Because I was like, I mean, look. I'm not saying that Seth Rollins could legit still be hating CM Punk, because sometimes you have to work with people you hate. I've done it before, right there. I think most of us who have an actual jobs had to work with somebody that we didn't really like. So I could see that being a thing, but it kind of like threw me off a little bit. I'm just like, ooh, I don't know. You know, like I like the feeling of just knowing that they legitimately hate each other. But they had like their discussion and everything else like that. Like I said, it was just like, who's gonna win what, who's gonna be eliminated where. Like everything is like planned out. They have like this board, and they show you like, well, the match for like when they get to WrestleMania, it's like they had different matches from what we saw at WrestleMania. And I was looking at some of that matches. I was just like, actually, I like those matches better. Why didn't you just run with that? You know? But they had that. So that was episode 4. I think also talked about The Rock. Episode 5, The Rock talks about, you know, I think episode 4, The Rock was in there too. They're talking about like what The Rock is going to do. Like, wait for The Rock's promo, wait for Cody Rhodes' promo, everything else like that. The Rock's giving suggestions. It seems to me like, I mean, I know people say that The Rock and Triple H don't like each other, but I don't know. I mean, we're only getting like what they're showing us. Who knows? They could legitimately hate each other. I don't know, but it seems to me like they're getting along and everything else. So in episode 5 is basically WrestleMania. They talked about the triple threat match with the ladies. They talked about the triple threat match with the men. What else match? I'm missing a match. They talked about the main event match at night 2. They even like threw in Travis Scott, and like Travis Scott. Oh yeah, also like at the Rumble, they talked about the Rumble. They also like talked about how like what was it? What's his name? Something. The black guy, the speed guy, whatever his name. But I forgot his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They talk about how Tozawa gets injured and how ISO Speed goes in there and for Tozawa and everything else like that. And he's like, he comes back from like being speared by Braun Breaker, and he's like legitimately like, he looks like he's about to cry and everything else. And Triple H is shaking his head like, okay, like, all right. You know, it's like, I mean, I can imagine that probably didn't feel too damn good. I'm pretty sure Braun Breaker was like careful, but still, man, gotta get a little bit of. I mean, he did get thrown over by Otis onto the announce table as well, so that could have been great. But yeah, anyway, so episode 5 was WrestleMania. They talked about that. I guess Bianca Belair talked about how she broke her fingers in the middle of the match. So she was basically working with like 3 fingers broken during that match. And you know, they were like doing the warnings, right? Because it was funny. It's funny because like they're backstage and she's like, hey, you know, I'm just letting you know my braid's extra thick, so when I do that whip on you, it's gonna hurt a little extra. Like I'm a little extra thick in this. I'm just like, wow. Got her good too. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it because I enjoyed the other side where you could see like these wrestlers just be like, oh, you know, they're very normal and blah blah blah. They cuss a lot also. It was like fucking this and shit that. I'm just like, why y'all always bleeping in the audience? Y'all just be cussing. Like, wow. Like, that and a lot of hugs. A lot of fucking hugs. Like, so every time the match is over, oh, good. I'm just like, oh, okay. But, I enjoyed what I watched, what I seen. I mean, obviously they didn't show everything because it's WWE. They're gonna show everything. But there were some things I'm just like, I don't know if I want to watch that. Right? Because it's like, I mean, look, I understand it's a TV show, it's a drama, it's a soap opera with violence without the killing, you know, at the end of the day. And I get that, but there's like some things I just don't want to, like, I just don't want to know, like, if Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair really, like, I'm supposed to pretend like they don't like each other, and then meanwhile they're like this buddy and everything else. I just like, oh, okay, I don't know, like, maybe after the fact I would like to know, maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay. It was a great, like I said, it was great. Like the production and everything was great and everything else like that. It was just some of the things that was just like, ooh, okay, got it. But all in all, I thought it was great. The one thing that did make me laugh, right? Because, you know, they were like, oh yeah, my name is like, on the show, like, my name is CM Punk, my real name is Phil Brooks, blah 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 blah, right? And John Cena's like, my name is John Cena. on the show they call me John Cena. My government name is John Cena. I don't know why I started laughing. It's just the way he said it. Right. It's just the way he said it. But if you haven't seen it yet, it's great. I think each episode is like less than an hour, like 50 minutes or something like that. So yeah, I watched it. I actually took a break because I freaking was up from like 7 a.m. Had a recording with Tim, and then after that I watched it. I watched 3 episodes, took a little break, and then I watched the last 2 episodes. But I wouldn't mind. Like I'm curious to see if they're continuing it. I guess they're gonna see what people are thinking, what people are saying about it, or whatever. But I enjoyed it. I don't think we need to know everything, but what we did know, like some of the things of like they didn't think about like turning like John Cena heel. I was like, dude, that was like the first thing I thought about when he's talking about his tour, his retirement tour. I was like, is he gonna turn heel? He should turn heel. This is the only time he better turn heel. But yeah, imagine that. But it was a great show. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye.